Hey there. So today I'm going to be following up on my last video where I did these night haunts that I'm actually practicing as chaos spawn with some chromatic undercoating or chromatic pre-shading. I used a blue where it turned dark green, and people asked in the comments what different colors would do. So I'm putting together a little kind of experiment here. I've taken a bunch of spoons and I've sprayed them out like this with 4 colors plus a white, and the whole thing is primed in white. So I've got a yellow ink, a red ink, I think it's just striking scorpion green, and a blue Vallejo ink as well. And I'm going to be painting over them with various colors. Now, these are basically the only appropriate contrast paints that I have for this kind of experiment. So I'm going to start with my red here. This is Flesh Terror's red. It's what I use for my word bearers. It's a great color. It's maybe a little bit dark for this kind of study, but we'll see what happens anyway. And right away you can kind of see some effect where it's sort of clashing with the green and the blue. We'll look at it again once it's dry, have a better idea of how it's going to all turn out. Next up, we've got an orange contrast paint. This is a nice, bright, clean orange color that I really like. I think it's called like Magmadroth orange or something. It's one of those silly GW names. We're just going to brush it over the top, see what happens. So it's interesting, but we're still going to, reserve judgment until after it's all done. All right, now we've got striking scorpion green. This is such a great color. I just love it so much. It's so clean and bright, and I use it for accents on my word bearers because red and green are complementary. It's gonna be a little bit weird because we are actually just going over airbrushed striking scorpion green on this spoon here, but when you do airbrush contrast paint, it tends to go on more like a filter, like an opaque, semi-opaque filter. It's an interesting effect. I did a video on it a while back. I think it was maybe my second video. And I might follow up and do another one again, since it seems to be a popular one and people seem to be interested in it. But the long and the short of it is contrast paint is fantastic to airbrush with if you know what to expect. It's not going to behave the same way as if you're brushing it. It's almost more opaque, but it's got a different quality to it than opaque paints do, and it blends really nicely because it is transparent in nature. So there's blue, that's Frost Heart. It's a nice one. I use it for like plasma coils and like blue glow effects in general, mostly on my Raven Guard army. All right, next up is Bad Moon Yellow. It's a great color. Yeah, I really like it. It's a great contrast paint. It certainly makes painting yellow a good deal easier. You can already see it kind of starting to tint that the blue and the red there. All right, and then I've got this pink for, this is the kind of the classic Imperial Fists sort of trick where you do pink where you want it to be shaded rather than, if you went over yellow with, if you went over black with yellow, it would be a total nightmare, but pink, this is the one that everyone talks about. So here's our first result with the yellow. You can see it's kind of brightened the greens. It turned the blue into kind of a Dark Angels green, Caliban green kind of color, and it's brightened the red to be more of an orange color. As expected, it didn't do anything at all to the yellow. But that orange effect is kind of cool. I like that. All right, now next up we've got our red. This is not a great red, I think, for this experiment, just because it's so dark, but you can kind of still see a little bit of an effect. The yellow turned a little bit orangey. It's hard to see, but the blue turned kind of purpley a little bit as expected. Now the green turned into kind of a chromatic black, right? That's when you've got two colors that complement one another, that they're opposite on the color wheel. So that's kind of an interesting effect, and maybe an interesting way to get shadows. I don't know. Could be something interesting. Maybe a little bit more interesting than just a black undercoat. But there we have it, and obviously no real effect on the red. I mean, there's a tiny bit, but it's very subtle. I don't know that I would recommend it for anyone to use it in a practical sense in army painting. All right, next up we're coming back to the Frost Heart Blue. This one's a little interesting. That's the natural color right there. And then we've got a couple of greens, really. The interesting part to me is not so much the effect of the yellow or the green turning into greens or blue or green, but really I like the blue. Somebody was asking in the comments about shading blue with like a chromatic pre-shade, and I think like the answer is just more blue. Honestly, it looks great. It looks natural. It would be a nice transition. You could sort of spray zenithal with a dark blue and a white, and then do contrast on the whole thing. I think it would look really natural and clean, better than a black or a gray. I really like that. And you could use a dark blue, or this is a medium blue. Obviously, I think, we saw it at the start of the video, right? It's just a blue. I used Vallejo blue ink on this one, which is a nice material to work with, especially if you're working with an airbrush. All right, so next up, this is the green. So about what you might expect. The green was airbrushed before, so it's going to be a little bit darker than it would be if you just brushed it. You can sort of build it up with an airbrush when you're spraying contrast, but what I like is the blue turning into that kind of like dark green, that Caliban green kind of color. That's kind of a neat effect. I think that could be practical. The yellow is a little bit brighter. It's subtle. The red I don't care for so much. I guess it just looks more orange. All right, then we've got our orange. I think the most interesting result from this one is I like the yellow up in the corner. The red is very vibrant. That's kind of interesting, but this yellow is really what does it for me. It's a nice highlight color. It's a little subtle. I think it still might be more interesting than just doing a straight zenithal, white over gray or white over black, whatever. The green is, I don't have much to say about that. The blue turned a little purpley. It's fine. It's not very interesting, I don't think. And the last one we've got here is the pink undercoat. And I really like this. I think if I were to do an Imperial Fist army or something like that, I would absolutely do this. You can see where I did the pink on the top half and the white primer on the under half. And I think that would just be a fantastic recipe for doing a zenithal. It looks warm and it's like clean, but not super clean. I really like it. This is my favorite result, I think, from the whole experiment. So anyway, I hope that answered some of the questions that people had left in the comments for the last video. If you have any more questions, do let me know in the comments. We'll have a conversation like we always do. Thank you again for watching. Thanks everybody for subscribing in the last video. I got like 100 subscribers or something like that at time of recording here. Blew me away. Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. It means a lot. It's been a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time.